Hi there, my name is Luis Calderon, and I'm the hornist of Mid-Cities Brass. Today, I'm going to provide you with some general information on the horn, what possibilities you can expect from this instrument, and thoughts for you to consider for your compositional practices. This video will be separated into the following sections: structure and acoustics, techniques and practical limitations, and a personal testimony of what I can do. Let's get to it. A brief history first. The horn was not a musical instrument from the get-go. It was primarily used as a communication device to broadcast pertinent information ranging from food and items being delivered to alerting huntsmen of progress regarding the hunt. As such, the history of the horn is very interesting in development from antiquity to now. Back then, the horn did not have any valves, so the only notes that it could produce were pitches that derived from the harmonic series based on the fundamental pitch of the type of horn that you had, or by alternating between a set of key-oriented crooks that you could insert into the horn. And so some horn calls that you could hear back then were mainly consisting of short and long tones, so something like this. Something like that could let someone know that the mail was being delivered or that they had found their game for their hunt at the day. In the harmonic series, I'm going to present just using the open horn, so none of these string rings are going to be used. As the music matured and demanded more chromatic tones, pedagogues developed the hand horn technique to achieve natural chromaticism. Just because the hand horn technique requires the use of the hand to change positions in the bell. So we have what is fully closed. You could have a fourth way open, halfway, third, fourth, and then completely open. And it kind of sounds like this. So I'll demonstrate just open horn. Here's 3/4, halfway. Here's a fourth, and here's completely closed. You'll notice that the pitch raised up, and that's because I'm shortening the length of the tubing of the horn by closing off with the hand and the bell. Let's talk about the structure of the horn. So with the invention of the valve and further innovations to this instrument, we have the horn as it is now, which is most commonly known as the double horn. And what that means is that the double horn consists of two sides. The F side, so this top layer that you see immediately, that's the F side, and it's activated by just pressing these three, and then just open horn. And then the B flat side, which is this bottom half that you see, it's behind the first layer here. And that's activated by pressing the thumb valve at any point, and then you can use a combination of fingerings. So the F side is longer in tubing. It creates a more warm and characteristic sound. And then the B flat side is shorter, which creates a more full and clear sound. Really, the difference is just in length of tubing and the sound that it produces, obviously. Though there are two sides, really only think about this as one instrument. So you don't have to indicate that you want a horn player to use the F side and the B flat side in a score, unless you want to for some color purposes that you can distinguish. But really, we use the horns interchangeably, so that's why it's just the full double horn. Let me demonstrate that for you. So I'm gonna play an F concert scale, and you're gonna see when I switch into the B flat side of the horn by pressing down this thumb valve. And the reason why I do that is because as we ascend, the partials get closer together. So if I were to play all that on the F side, that would lead to some accuracy issues, as I said. By involving the B flat side, it separates the partials, so that makes the higher register more attainable. The horn can produce several sound qualities and all dynamic levels, with just a few limitations ranging from player to player. Such sounds can be soft, distant, introspective, and romantic. This also means that it can be loud, full, declamatory, and majestic. In film scores, the horns are often used for reminiscent and heroic moments. Generally, for wind ensemble, in concert pitch, the horns play between B flat 1 and C4. But the horn has a large range. When writing for advanced ensembles, you can anticipate the horns to at least play from B flat 0 to E flat 4. Though this depends from player to player. In the professional world, there are low and high horn players. Low horn players have no problem producing the notes from F1 down to F0, sometimes even lower. While high horn players have ease regularly playing C4 up to F4 and sometimes higher. This terminology is still used, but as time and music progresses, it becomes more essential to play in the low and high range with equal proficiency. Common articulations like staccato, tenuto, housetop, and accents are very possible. Double and triple tonguing are used for fast, technical passages. Though not so great for the low register. The sound of the horn goes especially well with slurs and harmonic glissandos, also known as a rip. Hand horn technique is still used today, but only to achieve specific tone colors. Closed horn is when the hand completely covers the bell to produce a natural muted sound. To instruct a horn player to play muted, add plus signs above the notes. Keep in mind, since this shortens the tubing, the pitch will be raised a half step higher. causing us to use an alternate fingering to play the pitch that is written. So you do not have to adjust the pitch, just add a plus sign above the desired note. To instruct the horn to play open, a degree symbol is placed above the note and also implies to play normally from there on out. So that means if I have 4 notes and the first one has a plus and the third note has a degree, I will play the first 2 notes muted and the last 2 open, and open from there on out. Other variations of this can be used, such as quarter, half, and 3/4 stop. Bending is done by gradually closing or opening the bell, depending on what hand position the horn is coming from. So here are examples. Fingering lip trills can be done. Typically, a horn will opt out for what is best depending on their skill or the specific notes being trilled. Here's an example of a lip trill. And here is a finger trill. Flutter, split, and kiss tonguing are sometimes used. Also, multiphonics is an extended technique that we perform in solo horn literature. Here's flutter. Here's split. Here's kiss. Those don't have actual pitches on the horn. I just kiss them. Multiphonics. Aside from these, there are manual changes that we perform to produce other tone colors. Most common is by inserting a straight mute or stop mute. This one just projects the sound forward. It's my favorite. The straight mute dampens the sound, which makes it seem muffled or distant. The stop mute makes a nasal and brassy sound. And then what sounds with this one? Also with the stop mute, you can kind of tamper with the sound. Here's a little bell of the stop mute I have. I can put my hand over it and do some up and down motions to change the kind of sound it produces. The stop mute changes the pitch by a half step, just like closed horn. The straight mute will keep the pitch of the horn. Limitations vary from individual to individual, as playing the horn can be quite difficult to control due to the proximity of the notes in the harmonic series. You may hear horn players miss notes more frequently than their counterparts due to this, especially when playing in huge intervals. Certain keys require instruments to focus more to avoid mistakes. these require instruments to focus more to avoid mistakes. This could be due to the number of flats, sharps, or required fingerings. The concert keys of B, F sharp, and G flat major are difficult examples for the horn. Generally, switching to the third valve or any combination involving it is tricky, as dexterity is not as great compared to the middle and the index finger. So playing fast passages with it takes some time to play correctly, but horn players always have the luxury of multiple alternate fingerings to help with this, so don't let this influence your writing too much. Like any other lip reed instrument, the high range can be difficult to play, especially for horn players, since we may experience accuracy issues due to the closeness of the partials as we ascend. Sometimes the low range can be an issue since it requires a wider cavity to produce notes in succession. Don't be too discouraged to write for the horn. It is a difficult instrument to play and to consider writing for, but it's worth to hear in the end. If you're thinking about writing the horn in a low range, feel free to do so. I'm really comfortable playing down there, and I can also play in the stratosphere if needed. Rule of thumb, if you are unsure about writing something for a horn player, just ask them to see what they're comfortable with. Majority of the time, they'll let you know what they honestly think is possible for them. Otherwise, we could just suck it up and just practice what you work so hard to write. And I'd say that goes for any professional musician. That being said, write what you like, reference to this as much as you need. If anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me via email or phone. Stay well, stay safe, and stay healthy. I'll see y'all then.